Hello and welcome back to Vinecast. It has been a long 10 months without the Richmond Ivy in our lives, but luckily we are actually now less than 24 hours away at the time of recording from the team being back in action. And me and my co-host Alan, we could not be more excited. Unfortunately, we have lost a co-host in the offseason to the inevitable human experience of parenthood that takes away the free time that you have to spend hours a week talking about pre-professional soccer. Alan, what did you have any words to say about our fallen comrade Alex?
Fatherin, colleague. Genuine congratulations to Alex. That's an incredible deal. Just so unfortunate you can't spend so much of your time thinking about this pre-professional soccer league that lasts for a month and a half. And you have to do things like being a father and raising a family and doing something incredible like that. Genuinely, all the congratulations in the world to Alex. But we will miss you.
Yeah, and not us though. Not us though. We got plenty of time.
Talking
about pre-professional soccer. We will not spend an hour and 45 minutes. We hope this season with our preseason episode. We'll get through our list of talking points in a timely fashion. But no, we are very excited to be back. Alan, how was your off season?
Off-season was good. Off-season has been a lot. I may or may not be changing my own team allegiances vis-a-vis schooling for this coming year, but I can reveal that at a later date because that's very recent. That may even be breaking news for some people, and if it is, I will text you. I'm so sorry, but
you gotta get people to listen to the podcast somehow.
That's the thing. I was like, what am I gonna do to get people to listen? It's like, oh, you're gonna find something out really specific about me that you do not know. It's been good. I've been thinking about the Ivy a lot. Obviously, a lot of things have happened in women's soccer recently. Explosion in NWSL. My own Atlanta is getting its own NWSL team, which has been really massive.
Yeah.
Among a lot of other. What was the other? What is it? Columbus is the other one that's coming in.
Columbus, yep. Boston and Denver kicking off this season. So we got two newcomers in the 2026 season.
And 2 Ivy alums in the NWSL, which is crazy. One of them we predicted, the other one we did not.
Yes. Let's just say the Vinecast team, one of them I would say was a pleasant surprise because nothing is guaranteed. If we know anything about women's sports, there's not a lot of teams. There's a huge number of really talented players, and the number of players who even choose to go pro, because it is something you have to choose. It's not handed to you. It's not like men's leagues where you're getting wooed with bazillion-dollar contracts and exclusive shoe deals unless you're, Caitlin Clark. So the choice to go pro is a difficult one unto itself. So one of them, obviously we'd known, Cameron Simmons, we'd known that was her goal, but nothing is guaranteed. So incredible to see her picked up by an NWSL squad and then earn minutes. I know that she hasn't been playing recently, but the fact that she has already earned minutes as a rookie is
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I don't know about Miller. If I haven't been keeping up with that exactly. I know she's third or second.
Yeah, I'd say comfortably. Yeah.
So I don't know. And goalkeeper wise, I mean, brother, that is a tough gig. Because you are not seeing the light off of that bench unless something bad happens. So I don't wish anything bad on that team at all. I'm just saying, maybe kick some minutes towards our girl. But that's all we're saying.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Not a name that I think was on anyone's radar to go pro, but again, it's a choice to go pro and not everyone makes that choice. So if you're someone who's willing to put the time and the effort in and to grind it out on an NWSL salary in the Bay Area, then all the power to you.
More power to you. Which, speaking of breaking news and news on the offseason, I think now would be probably a really good time to discuss the latest Ivy acquisition, the most important one maybe of the acquisition case. The very top. You want to take this one?
Yeah. So we got rumblings, we hadn't seen the coach re-signing news, and we'd known the club was planning to bring back last year's head coach, Owusu Sekiri, who did he steered the ship confidently last season. But when that signing did not come through, we had the opportunity to chat with the Kickers organization, a president, Camp Peary, at the preseason match and sort of get a sense of what was going on the coaching front, because obviously you'd like some consistency season over season, but haven't seen that yet. And the long and short of it was that Owusu's job at the time at American University on their women's coaching staff had a clause in his contract that he was prohibited from interacting with unsigned high schoolers, which is something through like the Richmond United training program. The Ivy has high schoolers who may or may not be committed, play with the team. So Owusu was contractually prohibited from returning as the head coach of the Ivy, which as far as I know, is pretty unusual in college coaching to not be allowed to. Most college coaches coach a high school team. So a bit of an unusual one there, but who did we get to? But our boy,
Bob.
He's back at the top. I mean, he's got an impeccable resume. He's got the credentials. He has, most importantly, the level of FIFA license you need to coach a team like the Ivy, which is something that not every person involved in women's soccer and girls soccer has. So that's an important qualification as well. But, you know, you can read in the coaching announcement, you can read off his accolades. He has A and B licenses. He's the head coach of collegiate girls, where they've won 4 state championships, including 2024 and 25. Since 2019, he's been the collegiate boys program head coach and has won 2 state championships in that time. He has been the head coach of multiple Richmond United girls programs. He's reached finals in all of his tenures at various points. So he has the resume to do it. From a strategic perspective, I think is where this news came as an unusual announcement. If you have thoughts on that, Alan.
It is a little, yeah. I mean, the thing is to talk about it. I mean, the elephant in the room, the rainbow cookie shaped elephant in the room, is that obviously, like, this was something where we were looking for a head coach to come out and be signed and talked about and whatever. And the fact that it just sort of came out as, oh, it's the owner of the club. Okay, yeah. I mean, again, like you said, it's hard to get the license. It's hard to do whatever. But at the same time, and yes, he does kind of coach all these teams. But at the same time, I think we're in year 3. We're trying to see something step in, you know, going forward. And this does kind of feel like a who can we physically get before a deadline? Is it the owner of the team? And it was. So that's kind of what this feels like a little bit, is you know, like on the surface level, if like another team hired Rob Ukrop, you'd kind of be like, oh, okay, like, you know, he has some things. But the fact that the man does own the team is kind of one of those things where you sit there and go, okay, well, how many options did we have? Or
Right.
Did we even really look at it that hard? Or what's biting and what's not? So I will be interested to see how this season goes.
Yep.
I will eat my words if
we will be happy.
Like, I will be happy. Like, I am very happy to be like, Rob Ukrop is the golden god of the Ivy and like will lead us into the USL W League Championship. Yeah. That would be fantastic. I would love that. But I don't. This still, it's mostly about the optics of everything, just sort of seeming a little off.
Yes, agreed. And yes, completely co-signed, because we were sold, you know, we going back to the first season of the club, we were sold a lot of things around what the ambitions of the club were and what they were hoping to do as a W League club and what they're hoping to do from a player development perspective. And we've definitely seen the player development side take a front seat over the club performing on the field, in terms of reaching playoffs, winning games. So is interesting to see the sort of direction continue to be a little unclear. Because as we said, the Owusu was the goal. Who they wanted to bring back. That did not pan out the way they looked. So they were looking on a shorter timeline. But again, this is not necessarily this isn't the type of hire that we were necessarily thinking would be made based on what we know. But we have seen Rob on the touchline for the Ivy before. He was distributing gummy bears while there. He was having a lot of fun. So he definitely brings a positive attitude, a lot of confidence, and he's very comfortable there on the touchline. So it'll be interesting to see how his approach changes now that he's in the role full time rather than just as an interim while Owusu was off coaching a team that went to the national championships. So
and and as far as all the other sort of hirings and coachings and whatnot, obviously we saw the sporting director Madeline McCracken, some consistency, which is very nice to see at any level. Honestly, like sporting director is not something, especially at a smaller club like we have, is not something that usually is a stable thing at this level of the league. So it's nice to see that she's continuing on in the role. You would probably have a better answer on me with this one. Mac Phillips and Carter Yeasley. Wow, butchered that one. But
Max. The coaching announcement was very informative. I very much appreciated because when I Googled his name, a lot of web pages came up and they were all very old. So it was hard to find out his full resume outside of this press release from when the coaching staff was announced, but he has lots of experience coaching at the club level. He's currently on the girls academy staff at Skyline Elite Soccer Club, and he's the challenge program coordinator for soccer organization of the Charlottesville area, where he leads their advanced rec program. So he's done a lot. He played D1. He has been an assistant coach at the college level. So he has a lot of coaching experience, and so he's able to fill in a dual role as both a goalkeeping coach and an assistant coach. So that he's taking over there, which is also lifts a burden from Evan Munn, who was doing double duty last season as the goalkeeping coach for both the Kickers and the Ivy. So now we have someone at least who is focused on the Ivy and not pulled in two directions, hopefully. And then Carter Yeasley, she has been the assistant coach, and she actually has been both a coach and a player, because we'll discuss a little bit later what, things that we would like to see from the team. And this is one thing that I would not like to see again, which is Carter Yeasley in the starting 11, because we don't have enough players at an away game to field a full starting 11 of adults, adults being over 18. We went to Annapolis away last season with only high schoolers on the bench, and Carter Yeasley started at center forward for the Richmond Ivy. I talked to her about this this past fall when the Ivy coaching staff was at a Kickers game. I was able to say, Carter, that was crazy. Carter, that was crazy, wasn't that? And she said, that was crazy. And she said she had not played at that level, obviously, in many, 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 many years. And she stood on the back of the bus. She could not sit down. She stood on the back of the bus the entire drive back to Richmond. She was so sore from that experience. So Carter is willing to do what it takes for the team. I hope we will not get a repeat of that from a personal perspective.
Let's hope and pray. I think we can get right into the sort of divisional stuff, so we can get going with the squad. Last season we had Annapolis. Obviously, they're continuing on in our division. We play them twice or three times.
Twice. I think it's a balanced schedule this season because we've got 6 teams, so we're able to play home and away everyone. And Ivy has a 6th game, which is the cup that we'll talk about at the end, to balance it out with 6 home games in the season ticket package. But balanced schedule if we play everyone once home and away, which is an improvement from last season.
Yeah, and so we had Annapolis winning by 10 points, which is a healthy lead. We saw them obviously last year. They were pretty cruising on a lot of those things, and we'll see if that happens again. Obviously, I haven't had time to look at their roster if they've had any turnover as well. Obviously they're still also pre-professional, so that's still a possibility. Virginia Beach second, 3 points above. Ivy finished 15 points, 4.33 record. Again, not great. Not
right in the middle of the pack.
Right in the middle of the pack. Not bad, but not what we want to see. And Charlottesville, Virginia Athletic finishing with just one win. So could be worse.
Yeah.
And we are coming back into this division with some new things with the Virginia Development Academy.
Yes, this is the one new face.
Yeah.
They look pretty serious in that they have signed several players. I did a quick scroll through their Instagram because they don't have a lot of posts, so it was very easy to look at. And the schools were all very solid. The players, the teams seem to be reaching finals relatively regularly for their ECNL division, and 3 different players were called up and have been consistently called up to the youth national team at 3 players at 3 levels of the national team are all going to be in their squad. And they seem to, all of them, I did a quick scroll their Instagrams. They all have multiple posts and they all are on the field in the posts. So they are playing at these. So Virginia Development Academy, from what I could tell from a quick glance at their Instagram, looks to be a very, very serious club. And so I would imagine is going to be bringing a very serious squad together. So I would imagine they will be competing at the top, but weird things happen in this division. You never know.
Yeah.
From my quick, again, there's not a lot of info about these teams, so we're doing our best here. Scrolling some Instagram feeds, and neither Charlottesville nor Virginia Atlantic seem to have done too different of a route from what I can tell in terms of last season. But the only main notable thing that any of us would really hang our hats on is that the Charlottesville USL2 team, which is the men's equivalent to the W League, has signed several former kickers, including Jonathan Canagua, Brendan Domizniak, that last name is a difficult one for me, and Noah Hiort Wright. So 3 familiar faces on their men's side, so I don't know if we can draw any conclusions about their women's recruitment based on their men's recruitment. But they've got some solid sides on the men's. And then Virginia Beach United. Guys, there are so many teams with the name Virginia. There are 3 teams with the name Virginia, and then the other 2 teams are both the Blues. So really annoying choices from every team in the division.
Yeah, we did not look out on that one, honestly.
The Annapolis Blues joining the same division as the Charlottesville Blues. Like, come on, guys. Let's spend a little more time on branding. But and then Virginia Beach United. The one thing that kind of sets them apart is when you scroll through, they have a lot more players who are not current college players. So they kind of have I don't know if that contributed to their success because those players were possibly more committed to showing up regularly than college players. But yeah, they have they recruit a little more widely or seem to cast a slightly wider net, and that they bring in some players who are not currently in college. And they are competing with Charlottesville. They on the men's side, signed Nick Sarantakos and Grafton Call, 2 other Kickers Academy players. So a lot of those names, a lot of those players who have left the Kickers, started their college seasons, will now be playing in the area for USL2. So a good endorsement of the USL2 system, the USLW system, that these players are continuing to participate. That wraps up our divisional preview. You never know, but it's interesting to look around at least.
Yeah, it really is. It is honestly just a black hole. We have no idea what's going to happen, as we did not last year. We tried our best to predict that with the Magic 8 ball, and it just did not work. So, yeah, you know what? We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. But there's your preview.
Yeah.
Now we'll get into the squad, which is what most of us are able to hang our hats on. We've had a couple players over the last 2 seasons, who've really broken out, won hearts and minds. So now's our opportunity to see if we can identify who those players might be. This season, we, in our research, divided it up Alan took the keepers and the defenders, which is unfortunately the harder job because colleges don't really like to report on defensive statistics. So poor Alan has to read the tea leaves to try to figure out what these players have going on. So you want to?
Yeah. Let me just go straight up. So we'll talk goalkeepers first. Keepers, we had a little bit more information on, which is good, and we have some interesting things so far. So first off, we have new face, I believe. It's hard to tell because sometimes the Ivy like put in some players that we had no idea if they were even on the team before. And so sometimes I go like new to the team, and then somebody be like, they were here before, and I was like, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so didn't say it either.
Right, because Keely was the one, I think the first player, one of the first players announced in 2024.
Yeah.
And the quote is still in the spreadsheet where she was quoted as saying, I grew up watching the Kickers pro team play at City Stadium with my dad. I never thought I'd be the one playing at the stadium with my dad in the stands. It's such a full circle moment. But she got a concussion right before the season, barely played. And I know this because her dad was very helpful in the Facebook group and shared all this info in my mind. She got a concussion, barely played. She got a couple minutes in like Patuxent away, something like really like random. And then she did not return to the Ivy last season. I don't know if that was the Ivy not asking her back or if she wanted a different challenge, but she played for Charlottesville. Mm-hmm. And we only scored 1 goal against Charlottesville last season, as opposed to the 6 goals we scored against them in 2024. So I don't know if Keely Thomas had anything to do with why Charlottesville was a lot stronger at the back against us, but here she is back in Richmond.
Yeah. So, and with that, the thing is goalkeeping wise, we are kind of stacked at the moment. It's going to be a really, really hard decision and very difficult for me to predict exactly what we're going to do. Obviously, with the keeper situation at the Ivy, a lot of times we kind of just felt like they were doing like dice and rolling it some of the time, because sometimes it wouldn't make too much sense of why were they starting over this person and why was this going on this. A lot of it had to do with some collegiate stuff and minutes stuff, and there's all that, which we'll see again. But with this, Keely had some decent starts, 16 starts, 19 goals again, 72 saves, 6 wins. Pretty decent. 5 losses, 5 ties. Lauren Hargrove, again, our girl who has been with us the entire time, who I feel like if I'm talking about this in the sense of who am I looking for, this may sound romantic, but I genuinely just want Lauren to really pop out this season and have the kind of success that Simmons has had, because she's been an incredibly solid goalkeeper, both for Virginia Tech and for the Ivy. And I feel like if that's not proving at least some point to professional sides, I don't know what is. And I'd really just like to see her succeed, because I know that there was the possibility this offseason, and she did not do that, or an off season ago, I think, and that didn't really materialize. And so really hoping that she pops out this season. She had a decent time at Virginia Tech. However, the numbers, I believe, were a little bit less than they were for the season prior. 18 starts, 73 saves, 4 wins, 10 losses, 4 ties. So it's a little less. Now, does that come down to her goalkeeping, or does that come down to the defense? Again, it's college sports statistics, everybody. I have no idea, but I can at least surmise that it was probably not as good of a season as that for whatever reason. And then finally, Logan Marks, who last season we were like, oh, she's kind of popping off and maybe it's going to pop off at Oklahoma. And she did, classically. So she did kind of have, 12 losses with that. So again, a bit of a leaky defense, but with 99 saves indicates to me that it maybe wasn't her 100%, because with that kind of stats, it's gotta be like,
and fewer goals against than Lauren.
That's what I'm saying. So I personally think this has to do everything with maybe Oklahoma's defense and not to do with actually Logan Marks is keeping, because it seems like her reflexes are pretty on point.
Yeah.
So
and she's young. Mm-hmm. Like she's a freshman or something.
Freshman or a sophomore, I think. Yeah.
So she's been in the Ivy squad for 3 seasons, but the first season I don't think she'd even gone to Oklahoma yet.
No, I think she was in high school.
Yeah. So it's no surprise that it's taken her a bit longer to like start racking up the stats, because she was very young and now she's actually coming into herself. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And so that's keepers. I don't know if you just want to go straight into defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm just, because we have so many people to talk about, I'm going to read off a bunch of the names, and then I am going to put out about 2 or 3 that I just want to talk about in general. We have, going down the line here, we have Alexis Pierce again returning. We have her from Elon, had a decent season. Kenley Campbell, William and Mary, Taryn Chance from Missouri, Gianna Krapek. Is it Krapek? Shrapek. Yeah.
Apologies to the Shrapek
family. At George Mason, Shay Doherty, who adult.
She's our resident adult.
So no college for Shay. Megan Dwyer, also at Elon. We have a few that are on the same team, which I think is interesting. Mackenzie Fitzgerald, Georgia State, Naomi Knight, Mary Washington, Ava Lozada, VCU, Dakota Brown, UT, Kate Wire, VCU, Molly Whiterich, I think, maybe, possibly. Also William and Mary. Ava Pustover, again, another returning. VCU, Mason Nelson, again, another returning. Virginia Tech, Bree Fulkerson, Roanoke, and Ella Stanley, who I believe was at JMU and then transferred to Indiana, from what I can tell, or what my research suggested. So all of those being what they are. Ones that I personally would pick out. One, Alexis Pierce, I think had a really good season in college at the very least. 21 games played altogether. Again, hard to find statistics, everybody, for defensive stuff. And I was not on the Elon train. Apologies to my buddy John Henry, who went there and is an alumnus, but I did not watch their women's soccer program that much. So
we have no idea what position in defense they end up being used for, because for some reason college programs are allergic to actually describing where players are playing outside of the letter that they are assigned. So we have no, they get used differently at the Ivy than they do in college. So it's very hard to tell.
Yeah, because to us, she's technically a defender, but it seems like from her stats, she had 46 shots and 4 goals and 6 assists. I think she was probably playing more as like an 8 rather than like a 6 at that point. So I don't even know. Or an attacking wingback. I genuinely don't know. But she was definitely doing a lot more attacking. I think she just has a lot more of the statistics to back it up for this season so far. So I think she'll be returning a lot to that one. Another one that I have, Naomi Knight, another one with a lot of games played for this one, 22 games played, 12 goals against. The low goals against is kind of what I'm looking for here. Again, with Mary Washington, that's not obviously going to be a super high up program in the divisions in NCAA, but it is significant that, again, it's 12 goals against out of 22 games. Again, I'm reading the tea leaves, people. So it's hard to see, but I think that if we're looking for somebody who we have not seen before on the Ivy, and we're looking for somebody who maybe is going to pop a little bit, that's somebody who I think is possibly going to pop. Similarly, so we have some ones that are returning. I was looking more at Pustover and Nelson a little bit returning. Pustover had a little bit of a rougher time of it. 17 games played and 35 goals against. And again, if that's defensive errors on somebody else's part, or if that's goalkeeping errors, I'm not exactly sure, but that's a pretty significant one on that one. But Dakota Brown, another one where 19 games played, 12 goals against. So I think for, Dakota at UT, big program and significant minutes, significant games played, and a much less, obviously goals against. So I'm seeing that I think Dakota has become a much bigger player. Obviously, she's going to be returning to the Ivy. So if we're looking for another returning player that's going to make an impact, I think that's probably it. But again, otherwise, people, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I could be proven completely wrong. I have no idea. But I think that for our best estimate at the moment, those are the 3 players that I would probably highlight. 1, again, new, and 2 returning players at the moment.
Thank you, Alan. Your service does not go unrecognized. All right. So I took the midfielders. Right now we've got, all right, let me go through these names. These are the ones confirmed with Instagram posts, because also we have seen players signed during the season as well. So we will do our best to stay apprised of the new players that joined the team over the course of the season. But before the season kicks off, these are the players. Ava Legault, who starting strong. She's at Illinois. No 2025 stats available. No, it's like the season didn't exist. Like not in a red-shirted way, in that the page for the season doesn't exist on her page. So I assume she participated in the program, but Illinois never got around to updating her profile. So no stats there. Jill Flamia is back. This is an exciting one. We finally got to see her last season after being on the team in 2024, but she got a major injury in the spring and ended up not seeing any time for the Ivy. So we saw her last season, which was great. I don't think we saw her quite as much as we would have wanted, but it was great to see her. And she plays centrally. She plays like connecting the defense to the attack. And she had 11 starts. I believe she's been dealing with ongoing injury. 2 goals, 1 assist from 27 shots. And she had 1 game winner. So big time, like, love to see a clutch moment. She's had her national team appearances over the years, but that has definitely trickled off. But hopefully she is still ready to show up and perform for the Ivy. Madison Abi-Saab. Sorry, these are kind of incomplete. There's no rhyme or reason to the order that these players are in. Madison Abi-Saab started out as an academy player when she first joined up with the Ivy in 2024. I believe, in 2024. And now she's kind of a regular squad member. She played for Purdue in the fall and over the winter transferred to App State. So she is now at App State. And I would hope that she redshirts that season because she only made 3 appearances for 34 minutes. So I don't know what the cutoff is, but she could redshirt that season if she wanted. So not much to learn there. We're off to a great start. Walker Bristow is returning. She is also at App State, so future teammate of Madison Abi-Saab. Only 7 starts out of 17 appearances, so no goals, 3 assists. So also not a player getting forward and also not getting a huge number of minutes. Because, for context, Jill Flamia had 830 minutes in her 11 starts, and so 769 minutes for Walker Bristow. So we're not at big numbers here. Mm-hmm. So our midfield is definitely going to be something we're going to be looking at. Journey Durrett Finney is a new face. She is from Pittsburgh and plays at Point Park. She is the class of 2026. So she is a senior this year. She just played her senior season. She had 6 starts in 20 appearances. She had just under 1,000 minutes. So still not a ton. 1 goal, 1 assist. She was a midfielder though, until her senior year. So sorry. That must be from something old. Oh, she was listed as a midfielder and she played for some reason as a forward this past season. So that's what it is. Kira McCloskey, also a new name, plays for VCU. Rising junior, 7 starts, 550 minutes, 3 goals, 1 assist. So that's good. But again, none of our midfielders are really logging. I'm trying to put some context. These are relatively low numbers of minutes. These are not high number of starts. If we're looking back at our defenders, they were playing, 21 games played, 18 games played, 16 games played. Those are the types of numbers you're looking at when you actually appear in every match, not 6, 7. So these are players who are potentially not first choice midfielders at their program. So this is just good to contact. People always have the capacity to pop off, but we've often seen correlation to quality, consistent selection and performance at the collegiate level often correlates well to performing well at the Ivy level. And finally, Sophie Stroud, she had 1 start in 2025 in 10 appearances and played 200 minutes. So as I was writing these stats, I definitely was just going from one to the other. And this is a little grim, guys. I'm not going to lie. I wrote them all down and I didn't really internalize them because the forwards numbers were a lot better. Jill, I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready to play a lot of minutes because we got a lot of people who hopefully are going to be hungry to prove that they should be starting more frequently for their college teams, that are going to be hopefully looking to pick up a lot of minutes, get minutes in their legs, build their fitness up. And so that means willing to show up to more games. And yeah, but I will say I'm not looking at this. Jill is obviously the standout, but that's, yeah. Because there's a lot, hopefully, of growth to be demonstrated in that group. Okay, now I'm feeling safe again. We're into the forwards. We have 4 confirmed forwards. Jasmine Jackson is a new name. She's a rising senior at VCU. She had 13 starts. She had 2 goals, 1 assist, and she had 1 game winner. That's great. One of your goals to be a game winner, you'll love to see that. She also was called up to the Dominican Republic women's national team since 2024. So she is involved in her national team, which is great because that adds a lot of additional experience to a player. It gives them like a little additional savvy. They have just playing against, not just in the collegiate setting, adds to someone's game sense. So that's really exciting that she has a couple years of national team experience under her belt. Macy Landell. Now we're into the names that we all know and recognize and are ideally going to be players that are standouts this season. Macy Landell. She is a forward. She plays for Mary Washington. We know her. We love her. And boy, did 2025 pop off for Miss Macy. 23 starts, 1,700 minutes. Again, we were talking with our midfielders, 700 minutes, 800 minutes. Macy Landell had 23 starts and she played 1,700 minutes. So that is the numbers for a player who is getting minutes consistently. She had 9 goals, 11 assists, 72 shots, 42 of them being on target, 5 game winners. So she runs. We've seen her run up and down that sideline. We've seen her beat players on the run, and she put that to work for Mary Washington. Really, really excited to see her at City coming off of such a incredible season. Hopefully her confidence is absolutely sky high and we get to see her just bag a lot of goals at City as well. Sania Tucker is back. She's at Georgia State. She also made 15 starts out of 16 total appearances, 3 goals, 5 assists, 23 shots, 12 of which are on target. So very 50% on target are great numbers. You love to see that because sometimes spamming shots, you can take a lot of shots, but if none of them are on target, that's doing absolutely nothing. So having around 50% on target rate is great because it means she's actually forcing the keeper to make saves. Mm-hmm. So really excited to see that because Georgia State is it's a bigger school. So she was not getting those types of minutes last season. So good to see that she has actually grown in terms of her performances and her output. And finally, Olivia Woodson, rising senior at Auburn. She had 11 starts and 5 goals, 3 assists, 40 shots, 22 on target. So again, around that 50% on target range, which is great. 2 game winners. The main thing that is concerning, in addition to possibly the state of the midfield, I did not see in any of those players someone who had taken a penalty. Not saying penalties are super common in W League. I don't think we've seen a huge number of them. But we will be playing a cup game, which often goes to penalties if it's tied at the final whistle. Did the Brandy Chastain Cup go to penalties?
Yeah, it definitely did. Yeah.
I missed that one, but it went to penalties. So that we are starting our season with the possibility of multiple players needing to take penalties depending on how the scoreline goes. And you will get one here or there. And it is nice if you have a player who has experience taking them, preferably converting them, but taking them at least is something. None of our forwards took a penalty. None of our midfielders, from what I remember, took a penalty. I think I would have noted it down. So maybe some of our defenders have some penalties floating around. Maybe one of those goals came from a penalty. Hard to say, hard to tell. But that is a possible glaring hole in our attacking experience, is someone who would be our penalty taker. A couple big names have not either been announced or seem to not be returning. So including, from what I remember, Kylie Fitzgerald took a lot of set pieces.
Yep.
So her sister is back. Maybe her sister takes set pieces. So we will see where those more standard parts of the game come from. Ideally, our forwards, they have experience scoring goals. They hopefully have experience practicing penalties. And so we'll be willing to step up and take one if the Ivy get one. And hopefully we don't go to penalties in the cup tomorrow.
Which is a good segue into our what's next for this, now that we've kind of gone through our players here.
What's next is the cup.
The cup, the kicking it forward for charity. Instead of Brandy Chastain, get out of here, Brandy. We're here to kick it forward, which we will be doing against the Virginia Development Academy.
No, against Lancaster Inferno.
Oh, whoops. I read the wrong thing. My bad, everybody.
No, all good, all good. I wrote that very confusingly on our agenda. Again, so this is the match that fills out the season ticket holders package of 6 home matches. So I guess they dug up an opponent from our 2024 season before the divisional realignment. None of the teams that we currently play were involved in W League in 2024. So we were up with the teams from Maryland and Pennsylvania, and Nova. Lancaster Inferno was a pretty good squad. They finished second, or I think they finished second. And yeah, are a good team, a good program. I don't know if that's changed because obviously they're not in our division anymore, but they are our opponent for a new made-up cup. We love made-up cup.
We love the made-up cup. We love a made-up cup. If we win, we love a made-up cup. Yes. We do not love a made-up cup.
The reason we don't have the Brandy Chastain Cup anymore is because we lost.
Because we lost, and it's over. It's never coming back.
We don't recognize that cup.
It's fine. We'll just find another 99er to do it with later on. But yeah, so we will see how that goes.
It's nice, I guess, that the home opener is not a league match. So it's a total proving ground, a total testing ground. We can see how these players perform. We can see them start to build chemistry, but it won't actually have an impact on the final league standings. So maybe this will be a good thing from a squad chemistry perspective, to take the pressure off. I mean, there's the level of, there's a trophy on the line. So there's like an incentive to perform well, but this match won't impact where the team finishes. So could be the best of both worlds in terms of giving this team like a friendly, essentially a friendly with stakes to kick the season.
Yeah.
And then the actual season opener is against Virginia Development Academy. Again, I listed this so confusingly. Away at Virginia. So we will not see. I mean, I guess you could go to it. It's on a Friday night. If you wanted to spend your Friday night wherever Virginia Development Academy plays, you could go there.
Do we know what the streaming situation is this year?
It's supposed to be on Sports Engine. So ideally, we will rewatch because I will have other plans on Friday night than to watch that. But Woodbridge, they play in Woodbridge. So if anybody's in the area and wants on Friday night and wants to watch the Ivy, you can do that. And it should be streaming on Sports Engine. So we will tune in at some point so that we know what's going on. But
yeah, so we will see. We will see how that goes.
That's a toughie to kick the season off. Yeah, I guess it'll be a good baseline before we see them at home again. All right. Now that we know what's next in the short term, we have a couple things to predict. The first is based on the last 2 seasons, what does this Ivy team need to do to make the playoffs? Something that, frankly, they haven't even been close to doing in the last few seasons. We can't, like, putting it kindly, have finished 3 or 4 wins off the playoff spots in the last 2 seasons. So there's a gap to make up against the top teams in our divisions, and they've been different teams. It's not like it's the same team every time. So Alan, in your opinion, what does this team need to do to close that gap?
It is so tough, but genuinely, the team just needs to play together as the same team for a longer period of time. It really is stupid, but it is that simple, because every other glaring error that we've seen, when we've seen the players that are consistently playing together, and we've seen the players that have a really good capacity to win and to whatever, like when we had Simmons on the team, a NWSL caliber player, now that we could say that, when we had players like that on the team, it was great. We cut through some teams like butter. We were looking amazing. Like this team would be off to just rocking starts. And then we'd have like 3 games where it's like, Cam's just gone for like 3 games. Or like one of the Flamius is gone for like 3 games. And it's like, it's not injury related. It's not whatever. And then we lose a defender, or we lose 2 defenders, we lose another midfielder, we lose whatever. And it's just about getting reps together as a team. And I feel like that just, I guess that just wasn't happening with the other teams, which is possible. Like they may have, their contracts might be different. Their other things might be different. Their colleges might have different restrictions, because certain colleges have certain different restrictions, which again, a lot of ours was minute-based, which again is probably going to come up again. So all of this is basically me just screaming at a wall, but it's fine. But that's it. I mean, it is literally, when we talked about defensive errors, they got fixed when we had players that actually work together. We talked about the midfield, like not clicking. And then when the players that actually clicked with the midfield were playing together, it worked. So it is literally a thing of, we have the solution. We've had it. It's just getting them to play together more consistently, more often. Because if they do, we build momentum and we continue to win. But otherwise, like if you just keep on taking little bits and pieces out of this, the car is not going to get started. It's just not. And I think that's been our problem for the past like 2 years. And it's just not. Like the first year, I feel like we've never played as this team before. I think we've just never played as a team before. We did as well as we could for a team that's never played together before. Second year, hey, we've played before. Great. We got this huge attitude. We got this whole thing. But now, like, we're taking all these players out. So we just now in year 3 need to figure out, like, okay, can we stop that from happening? Did we, like, think about that was happening? And, like, have we figured out a way to mitigate that? If we haven't, I'm going to scream. If we have, we're going to be really happy with that. So yes. That's what I think.
No, and I would say mine is adjacent to yours. It overlaps in many ways, is that the team appears to have no attendance policy at all. 0. Players show up for 1 match and are never seen again. We've seen that multiple times over the last 2 seasons. Players will make 2 appearances. They will never make an appearance away. The reason that Ivy is this many points back is because we lose so many matches away. Most people aren't turning on Sports Engine, so they're not watching, and it's not easy to check the table. There's no FOTMob. There's no app that you can look at and see how the team is doing. So most people, and I don't mean that in a pejorative sense. It's very difficult. It's very hard to know how the team is doing. You show up to City Stadium, you watch them play, and you leave. And then at the end of the season, you're like, that's weird. Annapolis has 18 points, and we have 11. Or no, they have... Gosh, let me pull it up because it actually annoys me. I am super excited about this team, obviously. Annapolis has 28 points and we have 15. Like, that's not even close. And you know what is annoying? Is Annapolis is everything the Richmond Ivy is, except without the backing of a professional team. It's a team that said they were going to be recruiting from local colleges or players from the area. Prioritizing player development, who had a really great ticket selling strategy, has wonderful uniforms, is doing everything the Ivy is doing. And then they actually walked the walk on the field. And the difference is their players actually showed up home and away. We appear to have absolutely no attendance requirements. Players can show up, they can play in front of the fans at City Stadium, they can win 2-0 and then never have to travel away. Again, people are doing this for fun. There's no money on the line, but I know a lot of people are spending a lot of money to watch the Ivy at City Stadium. The tickets are not considerably cheaper than the Kickers. The season ticket package certainly isn't. So the fan experience is we are treated as fans of a team with high expectations, and that expectation we have not seen translated to the squad. Again, I know that this is something these players are doing voluntarily. They're not being compensated. I totally get it. But the other teams in our division, the teams that are serious about making playoffs, do not have this problem. They are winning home and away. Their squads are showing up home and away. Our squads are not. I don't know where the disconnect is. I don't know if it's the only reason is because all of these colleges have demanded that their players only play like 2 full 90s a season, which at what point do we say we want players who are available for more than that? I don't know. I don't know if that players are not given any attendance expectations and they can schedule vacations and they can do whatever other things they'd like to do. Again, I know that this is voluntary, but a lot of people are spending a lot of money to be fans of the team. And there appears, at least from my perspective, a large disconnect. I mentioned last season that our assistant coach started a match because we did not have enough players over the age of 18 available. That should never, we went away to the best team in the division who, when we played them at home, drew 3-3. The only team to take points off of Annapolis was the Richmond Ivy in a 3-3 draw at City Stadium. So when we go away to Annapolis and start our assistant coach, that is not serious. That is not a serious team showing up, attempting to challenge for the playoff spots. So if the Ivy wants to make the playoffs, something has to change around what our attendance looks like at away matches. Again, I know this is voluntary. I know that these players are not being paid. I know. But there's a huge gap between what we're sold and what the product is on the field. And it's not a problem other teams are having. It's a solvable, fixable problem. Otherwise, Annapolis would not be winning as much as they did.
Yeah.
So that's my soapbox. I promise I'll stay off of it until the end of the season.
That's it. Yeah. And going off of that with our breakouts ostensibly for this season, do you want to share yours first or should I?
I think, yeah. I mean, my top scorer prediction right now is going to be Macy Lindo. That's
what I was going to say. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else, unless there's a dark horse hiding in this squad that whose numbers in college don't reflect her ability at all. We want you. We hope you are there.
Yeah. But Macy is just powered by City Stadium. That girl is there for City, and for whatever reason is just like a nightmare on the wings for the Richmond Ivy. And it's great. I love it. It's fantastic. But that's 100%.
Yeah. Do you have another player who you think is going to break out? Maybe not in the goal scoring realm, but is a player you think will steal hearts and minds of City Stadium? Who's not
I think that maybe the younger players that we're seeing is like maybe Issa, like it possibly, like Sarah Flamia is another possibility. Which we saw a little bit of her. Did we see her a little bit last year? We did, didn't we? Was she playing?
Yeah, she played a decent amount.
Yeah, she did. And I really think that these are players that are really going to want to step up. Hopefully, again, if we're talking about attendance, we're talking about things and they want to get reps. I feel like the younger side is going to be a little bit more motivated than that. Maybe that's just me being wishful thinking, but I feel like if you want that kind of people to step up, it may not be the older senior players, and maybe it is the younger players who definitely want to get more minutes in their collegiate program in the following season. So I think that possibly I would say either of those two for me.
Yeah, and I will say one name I forgot to mention earlier. They dropped the Instagram post yesterday today that there will be 11 Richmond United Academy players. And so one of the names that's exciting to see returning there that could possibly be a standout depending on how many minutes she gets is Annabelle Scherer, who was called up to the not just like a talent ID camp, but the full U17 youth national team during the Ivy season, which was really exciting. Then she came back and she almost scored in the first match after she came back from that camp, or after she was announced that she was called up. And then she was called up again in September. So she's had 2 U17 national team call-ups in 2025. She is a senior, or I don't know. She's in the batch where they've all announced their verbal commitments to one college or another. A lot of the times that changes. So that she could be a player. She definitely was not out of place on the field last season, despite being a junior in high school. So would be that would be a player who right now seems to have a very high ceiling. So it would be great for the Ivy to be an opportunity for her to continue to develop.
Yeah.
Okay. We're closing out. We did have one question in the Discord, which was, do you think, based on everything we've seen from the Ivy, will this team go pro someday? And I do want to say I have a little bit of shop talk on that, straight from the source, Camp Peary, the Kickers organization who owns the Ivy CEO, that yes, the long-term plan is for this team to go professional. It always has been the plan. But right now, there is not a league that aligns with the Kickers' capacity. So the USL Super League, which was possibly going to be an alternative to the NWSL, also incorporated as a Division I league in the US. Being a Division I league means the entire league, every team in the league has to meet certain standards around the size of the stadium, around the player budget, around there's a couple other things that every team has to reach those standards. For a D1, that is the highest expectation. That the NWSL is a D1 league and the USL Super League is a D1 league. That right now is not a level the Kickers organization can meet. And frankly, the Super League, it's a great league, but it's not like the attendances are necessarily earning a whole bunch of money for those teams as well. Like a lot of them are not operating at like a ton of revenue, frankly. That's not why they do this, but that's where they're at right now. So ideally, more leagues, as the W League continues to develop, as ideally the Super League continues to develop, there will be leagues that fill in the gap there between the pre-professional and the D1 level. And that appears to be more what the Kickers organization is looking for. That's where they're looking to enter. They're not looking to enter at the D1 level. So yes, the goal, the plan is to take the team professional. Right now, the league to do that does not exist. I don't know if you have thoughts on that, Alan.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought it was, pardonnez-moi, mon français, but a boneheaded move for the USL to make the Super League a D1 league out of nowhere, because it was initially planned as D2, and everybody's like, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And for clarity, the championship is a D2 league. MLS is a D1 league. The championship is a D2 league. USL League One that the Kickers playing is a D3 league.
Yeah. And the USL has planned to do a league to rival MLS, and they're instituting a promotion and relegation to basically, make that actually viable, which is at least interesting in some regard. But to just sort of rug pull and all of a sudden make a league a D1 league was already not a good idea to do it in the first place. And then in the second place to make it a D1 league when a lot of these teams could not really support that at the same level, especially having a team in DC that is also against a team in DC that is one of the most popular NWSL teams. Not a great idea.
In the literal same stadium.
In the literal same stadium. Like, not a good idea at all. Like, that is so, I'm sorry. That's just nonsense. So you really hope that comes in, because really soccer is supported on a multi-level structure. Currently, we just have a league which is pre-professional. It kind of sucks because we want more support. Like, I want so many more women's teams in this country. I want it everywhere. I want it just like we have with the men's sides. I want a women's team here, and I want them playing on a regular season basis, not just for like a month and a half. Like, I want them to actually be in a professional thing. I love women's sports. I love women's soccer. I want it to be more. And for me, that does scream like we need a D2 league. We need a D2. I think it's screaming out for it. The hope is that the 2026, which is a garbage fire right now for the World Cup and everything else, but there is a Women's World Cup coming to us at some point. It's not the next one, but it's the one after that is coming back here. And the hope would be, like how they've been building this whole thing, like how USL has been building this whole thing with their league and promotion relegation right after the World Cup to basically coincide with that. The hope would be, fingers crossed, is that building up to that World Cup for the women, that USL or NWSL or whoever is going to do it steps up and is able to make that step on the pyramid so we can just get more women's soccer. Because it's just getting bigger, everybody. Like I don't know if anybody has seen like the PW, like the NH, I'm always confused on what it's called. WHL, because it was it's a whole thing, the premier, whatever. But whatever it is, it is like NHL level attendance.
Not my culture.
Yeah, but it's like NHL level attendances. This is a growing phenomenon. This is a growing attitude. If we are going to see it grow, we need to have another step on the ladder. And I'm just going to put it out there that the Kickers, the Ivy, have put themselves in a perfect position to be the poster child for that kind of niche. Yeah. So I just think whenever that comes along, I think that's an easy answer, an easy yes. It just hasn't come along yet, but it hopefully will, and it should. So that's
Agreed. Yes. And there's a couple other teams in a similar boat. A lot of championship and USL 1 teams have W League teams. So
yeah,
there are teams in this space. There's a few that have Super League teams. Actually, no, is it just Lexington in the championship and
Oakland
and Oakland?
Yeah.
So there's a couple that are in both, but there's definitely a lot more that are in the W League space that ideally would be able to make the jump to a different step on the ladder. So the goal is yes, but we just need the infrastructure to be in place to make that happen. So everyone, that's his why. I know I just went on a mini rant about everything about what we've been told, but this is why, showing up to women's soccer games, buying tickets, buying merch, both for the IV, but for any women's team that you have you're on vacation and you're able to go to a game. This is why putting your money into teams wherever you can helps indicate that there is demand, that there is interest, and that growth is possible. So our dollars, I know, are stretched incredibly thin at this moment, and it's a privilege to even be able to say you could put any number of money towards something like a hobby like soccer. But if you have the ability to, it's our dollars are what really shows that this is a sound investment for ownership groups. So that's our another soapbox that Alan and I will stay on. We will stay on that soapbox.
Not getting off.
Okay. Our last thing to discuss is probably the most frivolous, but you can't go into a season without talking kits. We did finally get our new lineup of Ivy kits. Can you say it's kind of a throwback 3 seasons in?
It is. I mean, that's the weird part about this is like you get this a lot in MLS where they're like, it's a throwback, and it's like the team has existed for 4 years, and you're like, is it?
It's a toss back, maybe.
It's a toss back. Yeah, it's like they're figuring it out. They're kind of just figuring out what the Ivy design is, which I think is part of it, because we didn't really know what like when the first Ivy kits came out, we're like, oh, orange colors, right? That's what we're doing forever now. And then the next year was like, no, and it was like, okay. And so now we're like orange colors again, and so like we're figuring it out.
Yeah, I like that the motifs, because again, I think across the board we saw some big swings with Hummel when we transitioned to Hummel. From a design perspective. So I like that both the keeper and the regular kits, they still have motifs, but it's like the subtle. And we saw that similar with the Kickers kit with this season with like the subtle triangle pattern rather than something really big and eye-catching. It was more like you have to look close and you'll see that there's a pattern. So I do like that they've done that with the Ivy too, with the iron work sort of frame
structure,
and then the brick on the goalkeeping, where it's not aggressive. There's visual interest, but it's not whacking you over the head with, oh my god, look how interesting, look how pattern, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, it's good. My biggest gripe with it is the thing that I have been saying for 3 years now, which is that we keep doing the sublimated stuff on the crest, and we finally got it with the kickers, and I was like, great, awesome. And then we didn't get it again with the Ivy, and I just like, the kits are really good, and I crave a more physical crest. It really does kind of make a difference. It is just
especially when you're already paying $90 for it.
That's the thing, is that like, it is one of those things, if you feel it in your hands and you're like, is this worth $90 for me? And when you feel that crest, you're like, yeah, it is. And then if you don't, it kind of feels, I don't know, it's not cheap, but it just doesn't feel like,
right,
where is the money exactly?
Yeah. Again, we've been talking, dollars are precious at this moment, and
that's the thing. They're really good looking kids. Otherwise, they're really good looking kids. I'd love one. If the IB organization gifted me a kit, I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no.
We will sell out immediately.
I will sell out so hard, so fast for kits.
No questions asked.
So easy to me. But yeah, I think they're good. I think they're solid entry point. I do think I like the ones last year more. I like the floral one that we had. That's a really good kit, honestly, and I think that the black one was pretty solid too. So I think the last year's, I feel like, was a little bit more solid from a design perspective, but I think that these years are fun. These years are pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. So will be the last point, but like a lot of times, they'll say like a team will have like a distinctive home kit and then maybe a simple away kit and then like a fun third kit. Obviously, they're not going to make a third kit for the Ivy, right, but I hope like maybe that, like, it's been interesting that pretty much for the most part, the home and the away kit have just been the same design or a very similar design, just in a different colorway. And it would be interesting to see that maybe now this is maybe an indication that the home kit, they're starting to develop a home kit that will like look a certain way. Cause that to me is a benefit to the fans to say, we're not going to have an entirely different design. So whatever you bought last season is not now going to make you stand out in the crowd. So to have like kits that are similar enough season to season so that, you have one from 3 or 4 seasons back and everyone in the stands are kind of looking similar with the home kits because the design isn't changing that much. And then use the away kit as the opportunity to do that fun design, to do something interesting. And then, you can kind of have the best of both worlds without doing and that might be more expensive because obviously you're getting 2 templates. So maybe that's not feasible, but I would be pro having the orange collar, the dark green top as kind of like the standard home kit, and then seeing something fun.
Yeah. Same.
All right. I think we've covered everything that we were expected to cover. We've done as much research as we can using our limited resources. Someday we will have a whole fleet of people watching every single college match Ivy players are involved with. It's not that season, but we are excited for this upcoming Ivy season. We are excited to be back in the sun with our friends. We will see you all tomorrow for the tailgate and only once more at home in May, actually.
Yeah, crazy, but yeah.
Or actually, no. I guess there's one at the very, very, very last day of the month. So one on the 30th or something.
Yes.
Yeah. So we won't see each other as often in May as we might think, but June will be busy, I'm sure. With that, we will leave you. Any last words, Alan?
Just let's go, Ivy. Let's make this a good season. Let's make this an easier record for us to not have a pain. Let's just make this a really good season, everybody.
That's a great way to end it. We will see you all next week. Be easy and be safe.